Hey, Dr. Bob here. Now, I'm not a real doctor, but I have like 7 or 8 malpractice suits, so tell the AMA that. I probably shouldn't laugh. They might be watching. Anyway, I'm here to tell you that this episode of Retro Rob Plays Everything is brought to you by TomTop. TomTop! I wonder what that means in Chinese. Might have to look that up later. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Just wanted to warn you, this particular episode features a Famiclone. Now, I know you crazy kids, you're always a huffing, and you're eating the Tide balls. Here's what I don't want you to do, okay? Do not lick the Famiclones, alright? I know, it's nice for a short-term buzz. However, the stuff you get off the side of a Famiclone, that's permanent, man. I mean, that's not going away anytime soon. It might be fatal, we don't know. So, whatever you do, don't lick the Famiclones. Alright, go enjoy the show. Hey there gamers, today we're going to look at the Mini Machine Anniversary Edition. It was sent by TomTop. Basically what this guy is supposed to be is a Famiclone with a TF card reader in it, which I've had a lot of interest in. Now, it doesn't have HDMI or anything fancy, but the ability to load its own games is a big deal as long as it can play them well, and we're going to find that out today. Anyway, let's take a look at the front of the box. Mini Machine Anniversary Edition Entertainment System. Built-in 30 classic games. Support to download more games. NP TV General. NTSC? I don't know what that means. Oh, NTSC or PAL maybe? I don't know. Anyway, 30 classic games built in. The Classic Game Series. Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3. Oh lord, just read them yourself. You know, you can freeze the screen or something. That's ridiculous. Support to download more games. I do want to point out that it's a different collection from the real thing, but it's a pretty nice collection. Double handle. AV output. Download games. 30 built-in games. They repeat a lot on this cover. The right side of the box. The left side of the box. Looks suspiciously familiar. The top of the box, Mini Machine Anniversary Edition Entertainment System, built-in 30 classic, wait a minute, QC Pass, yay quality control. The bottom of the box, yawn. The back of the box, which you may also call the bottom, it depends how you store it. Yeah, it's white. I order thee to reveal thine bounty. And now we know why I didn't have many dates in high school. Alright, let's take a look at this thing. Oh yeah, very nice packaging for what it is. We have 2 controllers and the device itself. Let's start pulling some stuff out of here. I'm gonna guess that below here is more stuff. Alright, looking in the box, first thing we see is an AC adapter. Nice that they included a complete one. Thanks guys for not just putting a USB cord in here. That's nice. Alright, that gets 1 point. Plastics quality seems okay. It's not overly great, but it's not overly awful. Looks like that cable's about, what, 6 feet long, maybe? 7? I'm getting pretty good at guessing these. Or maybe not. Next, of course, we have the AV cable. This is your classic modern style of Famiclone cable, where you basically got a little micro jack and it goes into RCA adapters. They are pretty darn cheap. Like, they're made out of tin foil, so be careful of them. The cable quality itself is okay. It looks like it's about 7 feet long, so that's a pretty decent sized cord. And here we have the manual. There is an English part to the manual. It has several sections. It's Introduction to the machine's function. Very nice. Attention for using. Not quite so good. And using attention for power adapter. And here's the introduction of the buttons. Hello, buttons. Alright, here we have the controller. It feels pretty good. The buttons work. It does not feel like the D-pad collapses. In fact, it is very much like the NES Classic controller, which I happen to have right here. The buttons on the NES Classic controller are a bit stiffer and less springy, I guess is the word. These are a much springier button, so that's kind of a thing there. The D-pad feels pretty close. This one again is a little bit springier than the NES Classic controller. The start and select buttons are rubberized, and the adapters appear to be the same connector. Let's try plugging in this to that. All right, so here it is, the classic, the not classic. I'm confused. And here is a classic controller, and yeah, it fits in. Maybe I'll try playing with it later, but it does absolutely plug in to the entertainment system.
Prepare for future disappointment.
I suppose we can start looking at the entertainment system. There's a power button, reset button, which is really clicky and cheap feeling, but the power button feels pretty good. Looking at the bottom, it says entertainment system with just a circle above it, a little bit about input, output, rubberized feet on the bottom. Thank you for that. That's always a nice detail. Here's the right side. Here's the back. TF card reader, that's super important on this device. DC in. The AV out, as I mentioned, it's a very classic Famicom or Famiclone output. Here's the top of it. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Here it is next to the real thing, and as you can see, super close. They both look nearly identical. If I would scrape these markings off of it, I think you'd have a hard time determining which one's which, to be honest, until you press this button. Because while the power buttons feel identical, this reset button on this one is a lot clickier than this one. This one's got kind of a more I don't know, I guess it would be substantial feel to it. Otherwise, looking at them, it's really, they're very similar in appearance. There's a little bit, look at this. Oh no, there's venting detail on this. I should have done the same side. Okay, yeah, there's venting detail on the sides of both. Looking at the back, of course, you can tell the difference on the back because there's HDMI out on the NES Classic, which of course this device doesn't have. Anyway, it looks pretty nice, and the controllers seem like they might be all right, so let's test it out. Real quick, let's hook this bad boy up. There we go. And unwrap this guy. AV out. And then I will plug this guy in right here. We'll test the controller that came with it first, and then we will try out the original NES Classic controller with it to see how that works. But there we go. Ready to roll. Ba-dum-bump, ba-dum-bump. All right, welcome to the main menu, and there's a lot of lying going on here. Well, the games are actually there, and they are what they say they are. But don't trust that top bar because you can't really get to that top bar. It's just basically a skin. There's no like save game. There's no recover points. Not that I've been able to see, and it's not listed in the manual. So I assume it doesn't really have the ability to save games, at least so far as I've been able to test.
Incoming message from Future Rob.
Just a little bit more on save games here. I'm going to quickly register my name. We'll just make it RRR because it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to go through and hit end and start my game. And as you can see, come on. My game has started. Now I'm going to hit the reset button. And I'm going to go back in. Come on. There we go. To Star Tropics. And behold, my game is still there. However, if I turn this unit off, it will not be there when I get back. Also, if I go to the main menu and say play something else that's not going to totally get me sued here. Yeah. This looks a lot better than last week's device, doesn't it? Alright, so now I'm going to go back to the main menu. And I'm going to go back to Star Tropics. It's still there. So as long as this unit's on, you're okay. You can play other games, but the minute you turn it off, you're in trouble. So my recommendation is to get it on battery backup, maybe. Hope you have really reliable electricity. Anyway, there we go. I would go with the assumption that your saved game is not going to be there when you get back, is what I'm saying. It's not a huge deal on NES unless you want to play a bunch of RPGs. Then you've got a problem.
End transmission.
Another thing you might want to know is that you absolutely cannot use NES Classic controllers in here. It will start flashing its light and it will turn the screen off so that you, well, not the screen, but it won't do any display. So you won't be able to play a game using the NES Classic controllers. The good news is that these controllers work just fine. They're probably among the better NES clone or Famiclone controllers that I've used. They're very responsive. They work fine. Yes, they are a little bit mushier than the original NES controllers, but they do have a nice feel. They never miss a button press. I mean, I can make very smooth movements with it. I have no problems like that. So that's, really okay. And as far as, the emulation goes, it's, your bog standard emulation, but there's nothing I can say that's really bad about it. The games seem to play pretty nice. It looks like they at least spent some time making sure that things work, at least as far as the few games that are built in that I've played. Really, not bad. Not complaining. Alright, let's go put a TF card in here and take a look how it runs some of the games that I've got. This is pretty fun. Yeah, not bad. Hey, I forgot to tell you something about the games that are built in. Before I said that the games were labeled properly, and that's not really true because Bubble Bobble is Bubble Bobble 2. But I do want to show you something because I know that many of the Famiclones that I've reviewed in the past, they have a lot of flicker when they're playing this game. Whereas you can see on this one, it's really pretty clear. It looks pretty good. Not bad. So I'm going to give it like minus a point for having it mislabeled, but I'm going to give it plus a point for not looking like total and utter garbage, which is, kind of nice. Not bad. Alright, let's talk a minute about TF card games before trying a few. I'm going to bump over to the left twice and click on TF cards, or press the button on TF cards. This is something you're going to note. You have to make a WM game folder all in caps on your TF card. And if you don't do that, it's not going to pick up any ROMs. Another thing is, you're probably going to find that most of your standard ROMs don't work. You're going to want to actually go to this website and brave the Chineseness of it to download your ROMs there, because I found that a lot of the standard NES ROMs don't work. Some do, but a lot really just don't. So it has some compatibility issues. So one thing you might want to do is go to that website and see if it's got the games you're looking for beforehand. In the end, you're going to end up basically making a curated list for this to be able to run them. It's not the worst thing ever, but, it's something to keep in mind. I've played this probably a little bit too much on this station. Maybe. I should probably find something else to play. Anyway, seems sort of just fine. Please note that the The fact that this is stretched is probably a function of my recording equipment, not necessarily a function of this. I mean, it's just NTSC output. So this is something your TV might do, but you can probably change the settings on your TV. Unfortunately, my scaler only has one setting for this, and that's how it goes. Come on. This is way longer than I remember it. Alright, here we go. Oh no, I got hit! Not at the end! This is what always happens. Arr! 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 No! No! Get more! More! Oh no! It's gonna get me. I won it. I won it? I won it. Yes! Got it! Alright, here we have the load runner test, which of course, I'm gonna see if the A and B buttons are reversed on this thing, which does seem to happen a lot. Unfortunately, it was taking forever for that screen to load. I think it does that on the original too, though. Alright, so here we go. I'm gonna press B, and I dug behind me. There we go. It passes. That does happen every once in a while. By the way, I absolutely love this game. The first time I played it was on the Apple IIe, I think. My friend Mike's Apple II. And then I got it for the Commodore 64. Loved it there. Just a great game. It used to have a level designer on it for the Apple, as I recall. So you could make your own levels, which is what... Oh, come on, really? Let's go find F1. And here we go with the F1 race test. Those of you who've watched this station know that F1 race will often not work correctly on some of the cheaper Famiclones, because what it'll do is after the first turn, the controls will reverse. And it appears that other than some pretty nasty tearing, yeah, this is working the way it should. Now, there is some tearing, which is another common thing that I see with these, but it does appear that the steering works correctly, so I'll give it a pass. It at least is playable, and you can have fun with it, even though it's not 100% perfect. Like me. Here is Gauntlet, and unfortunately, like a lot of clones, it does not work right on here. That's particularly sad because it is a multiplayer game, which would suit this system quite well. I have seen this particular problem before with it. I don't know if there's like a ROM version that will work better with these, but I have found that on some devices this ROM works and on some it doesn't, and that's exactly why I test this one. And it doesn't on here. I did check the website that they show if the TF card's not inserted, and it did not have a version of Gauntlet so far as I could find on there. So no go for Gauntlet apparently. If you guys find something different, let me know. And here we have Parodia, which I downloaded off of their website. Yeah, it works just fine. No problems. I did have a problem loading this with the ROM that I had, but this one seems to work just fine. So, alright. That's okay. For testing, I found that the ROMs that I had in my possession worked maybe 50% of the time, if even that. But I downloaded about 6-7 ROMs from their website, and all of them worked. So apparently they're doing something with the ROMs to get them to work properly with this machine. Don't know exactly what, but they do at least work when you download them from here. Something to keep in mind. Again, Booyan, which is one of my more beloved 8-bit games. I like this one quite a bit. It's fun, works just fine. This is another one that I did download off their website. And it is working out. Alright, let's go on to the verdict. So, what is the verdict on the, whatever the heck you call this, entertainment system, I guess? Well, it's a mixed bag, as many of these are. Now, I do give it a little bit more leeway because it's a sub $30 system, but there are a few things that are really pretty decent at any price. Number one, the construction quality of the hardware. Yeah, it's got some decent plastics. It looks good. In fact, you're hard-pressed to tell the difference between this and a real NES Classic. If you're putting them side by side, you covered the labels. You really have a hard time telling them apart. The plastics are really that good. It's pretty darn nice. The controller is really good as well. I had no problems with the controls at all. The D-pad works great. The buttons are nice. They are mushier than the original controllers, but they're not so mushy that they give you trouble. Really pretty nice. One bad thing, of course, there is no HDMI out, but I do like the fact that they did include a complete AC adapter in it. Thanks, guys. The included software is pretty nice, runs well, great stuff. Sadly, you cannot save games in any way, shape, or form, really, because once you turn the system off and then on again, it's going to lose them. That is kind of a bummer, especially if you like playing adventure games. TF card function is totally cool. That's like the best part about it. However, it does have significant issues, or well, limitations in what ROMs it can run. The standard ROMs that I use for NES games do not appear to work, at least reliably. It maybe got a 45 to maybe 50% success rate with them. I did find, however, if I go to their website, which is in Chinese, and download ROMs, those all seem to work. Had no problems with those at all, but it is an added hoop you have to go through. All in all, I do give the system kind of a medium to a little bit thumbs up, because in general I think it's pretty good and I think I could have a lot of fun with it. It's just going to take a lot more front end setup than maybe some people are going to be willing to do. But once it's set up, yeah, it's going to be fun. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in a couple days. Bye!